position, Pyro.
We'll have to see if it all starts here right now. Bans are coming in, and it starts with Karthus. And of course, it also starts with Jax.
Yeah, not surprising at all. Out of the 17 games that Giants have played, Jax has been banned in 14 of them, played in 3, and has 2 wins. Werlib went 2-0 at the beginning of the split because I think teams almost disregarded the strength of Giants and that champion. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Giants last week when they pulled it out. The Karthus, on the other hand, Froggen went huge and really had a very impactful game.
Yeah, and Elements, they definitely know what they wanted to ban out. So did Giants Gaming. These have been flying out pretty quickly now, and as they've all been set in, we have a Diana ban, the Lulu ban as well. 5-5 has opened just so many possibilities. We'll see what they do. Take Giants, they're going to lock in the Maokai first for Werlib.
So interesting that this week the Lulu is the focus. A lot of bans and fairly early picks across most of the teams. The reason I say it's interesting this week, last week I felt Kog'Maw was taken off the table more often than the Lulu. And as you can see this time around, fast lock-ins from Elements and also a lot of early game presence. Lee Sin plus LeBlanc are a very scary roaming combo, and when Froggen has gone rolling on Assassins this split already, I think back to his performances on Ahri, for example, he has been terrifying. The problem is Froggen's not been able to convert that level of play and those kills into as many victories as he would have liked.
Yeah, that's fairly true here. They're definitely uncomfortable champions for themselves. Froggen on LeBlanc, Shook on Lee Sin. Pinero is relaxing on this one. And they will lock in both the Rek'Sai and the Corki.
So for Giants, a little bit of everything. They've got a strong front line, they've got a mobile tank, mobile jungler rather, as well as that mid-game AD carry. The only interesting question is, what does Wicked want to run in that top lane? They're leaving that last pick with Hecarim gone, with Lulu off the table, with Maokai off the table. Does Wicked want to run an Irelia and have a very aggressive run at team comp, or does he want to default to the Gnar maybe that Oda continues to play despite being less successful? That's a question I have left for Elements.
Yeah, we know that they've been prioritizing a little bit more the hyper carry, so we see Reckless once again on Jinx. This will be his 3rd performance on it. He's got a win and a loss on it. And Krepo goes for the Thresh, so again, it's one of those tried and true combinations, but they are leaving up their last pick for Wicked last. What do Giants answer with? They still need themselves a mid laner and a support.
And Pepinero is quite versatile. He knows he's coming up against a LeBlanc, so got to be a little bit careful with the options that he runs if he wants to go Ahri. Always had Xerath in the back pocket. Going to be very confident with the Twisted Fate. And on the condition he doesn't get caught out by an aggressive Froggen, I like the fact that Twisted Fate is going to synergize with the Rek'Sai very well. With all of the hard CC from Annie and the Maokai in the respective lanes, there is very, very real gank pressure. And against a Jinx with no escape, if Krepo's not in the right place with the Lantern, all of a sudden you can lock him down very quickly. Again, the question for Elements, do they want to run a tank top? Do they want to give Wicked the likes of Rumble, which he has run already, the split 2 games under his belt? Or will we see Wicked on something that we've not seen in the LCS yet? This is the player that has struggled more than most on the Elements squad.
Did have a brief hiatus from the team. Came back, he's played some Maokai, but that's not available to him this time around. Hey, you know Aurelia's open. He played it once. This split.
The only scary thing...
Oh!
All right,
okay,
so
there's a tank buster.
So Trundle, I love in 5.5 because of just the ridiculous amount of sustain that he's got. Because of the changes to both his passive and his W, he's going to be able to just stay healed up in lane for such a long time. And something that's great about Trundle with his ultimate, stealing the tank stats, he's going to be able to steal all of those statistics from Werlib's Maokai over and over and over. The Subjugate allows Wicked to, in theory, itemize a little bit of damage early and adjust. I like Elements team composition, maybe with the exception of the Lee Sin on 5.5, but I want to see how well Elements handle this laning phase. There is the possibility for Pepinero to ruin a lot of people's days.
This is very, very true. A lot of global presence from the side of Giants Gaming, should they choose to use it that way, but I'm really excited to see if Elements can pull off this comp. If they can win this one, they'll keep their playoff hopes alive for now. We get ready to get this underway. The two coaches meeting up here to shake hands in just a moment. There they go.
And you know, this is the first time that we're seeing Pepinero on Twisted Fate in the spring split. So, new champion for the Giants. it completely alters the way the team has to play and has to work, but it also puts additional pressure on Element's side. Elements as a team have been caught out in the mid to late game, and we'll need to see if the Twisted Fate can enable that again. We
will indeed, but now it's time for you guys to tell us if you think Elements will even out the head-to-head, or if Giants can get another Giant upset by tweeting us at LOL Esports with the hashtag LWin or GIA win. We'll see what you think in the game. The crowd's ready to go. Let's get this one underway. Elements versus Giants, part 2 on the Rift.
And you know, something else that we also have to touch on is that if Wicked gets off to a strong start and gets to a, very beefy Trundle frontline, Corki is not a tank killer. Twisted Fate is not a tank killer. So if Wicked is able to get beefy enough and Shook is able to maybe snowball some early presence, they have a very, very powerful team fight composition with the fact that Trundle and the Pillar, the disengage from Thresh and Lee, as well as the mobility from LeBlanc can get excited. I think there's tools there, but for the time being, a little bit of pressure on Reckless. That's a ghost.
Quick ghost from Peppy, yeah. It looks like they won't get anything for it as Froggen was there to back him up. There's a gold card on. He's going to fling it, and that's going to force a flash out of Reckless, so a summoner traded. As Reckless goes back to base for the start of this game, Warlib taking a little bit of damage, but he returns it onto Wicked as well.
So it's going to be an interesting trade. Yes, Pepinero burned his ghost. It is a shorter cooldown than Flash, but the question is whether or not Shook or Frederick can actually take advantage of that summoner spell loss that the respective opponents have suffered. Again, Reckless is most likely going to be playing it safe with Crepo, and you can see with the lane swap scenario, as long as they don't get too overextended, the likelihood of that early summoner trade, I don't think it's going to impact all too much.
Should not if Giants don't take anything really tricky to start this one off. So Wicked's going to rove through the jungle, meet up with Shook in just a bit. Should be heading down to bottom lane in just a little while, but for the time being, Warlib's also going to be hanging out this time by the Razorbeak camp, trying the trick with the saplings. No one is there to stop him.
And we do see that the alternative top lane is, of course, Wicked. He started off with that Q. He got Chomp, and he's going to be starting off on that Raptor camp. So something that we've seen from Hecarim top lane is they do that early camp, clear the entirety, back, pick up boots or armor, and then TP to lane. And for Wicked, knowing he's coming up against what is going to be Ardry plus Rydell, there's a lot of auto attack harass that comes out from that Annie. So I'm most likely going to see that armor. We'll see what he opts to buy. And we're settling in for a lane swap. Pyra.
Looks like we are indeed. So Reckless unopposed up there for the time being. You can actually see Crepo moving in to the Giants jungle to actually just try to disrupt this blue, but it's going to get taken. Frederick's extremely low, though. Oh, my goodness. He burns away for first blood. Crepo picks it up. He stopped the blue. Shook comes in with a steal. Warlib has to flash, and just like that, Element's in a fantastic spot to start this game.
It was just so incredibly greedy from Frederick. Starting in the lane where your opponents have the numbers advantage. There was always going to be the AD carry and support top lane, and Rydell and Ardry were bottom, so if Frederick wanted a blue buff, the safe option would have been on the bottom half of the map. I think that was just a very, very over-ambitious play, and it cost Giants.
Yeah, Crepo with the bloodthirsty first kill, especially thanks to the Ignite. You know, Frederick was really, really low in that. Yeah, it's so risky for them to try and do it that way when you know that the support's off, you don't have anything to back you up in that side of the jungle. Now Froggen jumping onto Pepinero, a serious amount of damage as he distorts his way away from the cards. Giants already starting to look behind.
Yeah, it is always going to be a difficult lane. LeBlanc into TF, as long as Froggen is landing those ethereal chains, then Pepe is going to be chunked down. He's already missed 7 CS, forced to back very early and pick up that second Doran's ring. So feeling the pinch. But what I really like from Elements, the fact they got the kill, we did see that blue buff secured by Crepo, I believe it was, thanks to actually, no, it was taken by Shook, now that I looked at it.
He was there right in time, yeah.
Exactly, so Shook managed to clear it out, and you just caught a glimpse of Wicked defending Element's blue buff. It's not going to last too long, though, because Giants have grouped themselves up, and they're going to look for a tower dive, but Wicked not making the same mistakes of previous weeks, and he's backed off very, very early, Pyro.
I don't know. Giants are looking for a little bit of blue revenge. Wicked's going to spot that one out. There's not much they can do about it. So
oh, look at Shook.
There,
Pepe's going down.
Yeah, he's going to be in some serious trouble. Chains are on. He's got the card. Easy Q in for Shook, and he picks up Pepe. 1, 2, 3. A little razzle-dazzle for Elements. Even though they give up that blue on their own side, they're able to get a lot of pressure in the mid.
Yeah, very, very well played. And just what's great to see from Shook in particular, he's not at the same level of impact as maybe last year or even from Worlds. And this is the 5th game that he's playing on Elysian, 2 wins, 2 losses. Such a great confident start. The invade with Wicked onto Giants Blue, another dive in the mid lane, just going under the tower, knowing the gold card wasn't a threat. And Elements may look to trade a tower for a tower. It looks like Reckless is shoving that top lane, but that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, certainly not. He's going to actually take his time about it. He can take that tower down whenever he wants. Krepo's still continuing to rove around, and Reckless has just been completely unchecked. Giants unable to really do much about him to start this one off. And for Shook, it is really important that he's getting this early action, and he's getting involved in not just the kills, but able to back up Elements in these situations, because he's on a playmaker early game like Lee Sin. You want to be able to get yourself into a good position for a mid game and be able to just have a big impact. Audrey takes way too many tower shots on the back of that one, but Giants, they should be able to secure this dragon. However, they might have some trouble getting out. Froggen's caught a whiff of this, but it's too late.
And again, that's just the risk of the lane swap. Because of the fact that Elements didn't get that tower on early enough and Reckless and Krepo had not backed, they were unable to look for the challenge, unable to set up for a fight. What they are doing very well is invading to get some vision down. You did see the Tremor Sense notifying Frederick of Shook's position, but as long as Krepo doesn't move, he's not going to give away. Yeah. I think it was smart, despite the fact... Oh, Pepe's hooked!
Oh, yes, they caught him. Waiting and baiting. Pepinero might have a gold card, but that won't keep him alive. Krepo gets another kill.
So the thing that's so good about that kill, Krepo, Shook, and the rest of Elements, yes, they lost Dragon, but they knew Giants were going to be backing. So what they did is, knowing their opponents were not going to be in lane, they instantly invaded Giants jungle. They were looking to get deep vision down, and they managed to secure themselves a kill. They've also forced a level 2 teleport. If Werlip gets caught by CC, he's going to die as well.
Well, there's another chain, and he's going to twist an advance onto Shook. He's taking some serious damage himself as he safeguards over to Froggen. The Lantern was down. He didn't need it. Instead, it's going to be Froggen himself that takes it. So Werlip and Frederick have successfully pushed Elements away, but at the cost of a lot of tower damage.
Yeah, a lot of HP indeed. And that vision that Elements had garnered slowly being whittled away. There is a pretty deep ward just in front of that red buff camp for Elements to play with. Pepinero at 7 minutes, 20 CS to Froggen's 47, only level 4. Because of how often Froggen's been jumping on Pepe, he's just not been able to stay in range. 500 gold down already, and the fact that Froggen's now got access to his ultimate, plus Ignite cooldown shortly, you gotta think he's gonna be looking to pick another card and just drop Pepe where he stands.
Yeah, you can gamble as much as you want, but when you're 2 levels down, you're definitely not going to win that one. So Pepinero is going to have to be extremely careful dealing with Froggen right now. He throws in the wild cards. The chain doesn't connect. He still takes a lot of damage off the back of that.
Yeah, again, it's just a difficult matchup. The fact that Pepe's been so delayed in getting access to his Destiny just means he can't impact these side lanes. Frederick is trying to set something up, but with Froggen having W available and Flash, this might just be to prevent a counter gank, actually. Thinking about it now.
Talk about the value ward, though.
Yeah, and knowing Pepinero was lower level, lower on HP, and that Shook had already ganked, Frederick was just making sure that there was numbers available if anything were to happen.
Pepe should be able to grab his blue buff here, but still, rough game for the Giants so far. They may have managed to grab Dragon 1. They find themselves in about 2,000 gold behind. Reckless, Krepo pushing up. They've caught Werlip on a hook. They catch him on the choppers. They're really just dishing out a lot of abuse to him. Rydell doesn't quite have a stun. There he goes. Still, this Jinx is starting to run a little bit wild. Werlip's going to have to back away. Yeah,
and the fact that Krepo's landing so many hooks already is actually a good sign for Elements. If you look at their team composition, there's not a lot of engage here at all. It has to be Shook or Wicked running at somebody or Krepo landing a death sentence. You contrast that to the engage potential of a Maokai plus Rek'Sai. It means Giants have more tools to begin fights. If Elements can keep finding those picks with those death sentences, the roaming Froggen, and maybe the long-range missiles, that's how Elements can maintain control of the game.
Keeping it for the time being. Another tower should fall pretty quickly. There goes Reckless getting excited. Now Frederick getting zoned out of his own red buff. Shook's going to be thank you very much as he gobbles that one up himself. Destiny's on. Pepe's not going anywhere. Oh, wait, never mind. I called it too early. He goes down to bottom to clean up some farm.
Well, absolutely nothing gained. The fact that Elements had the numbers advantage middle, knowing Pepinero and the wave clear is now no longer there. They have the option to push, but you would rather have Reckless there with that BF sword. And very early lucidity boost from Krepo, again, alluding to the fact that they don't have engage. For Elements as a team, they need to be able to land the death sentence. They need to be able to solo out targets. But what I do like from Elements is the fact that they are invading the jungle and they are punishing Giants.
Oh,
They got him!
Oh, Peppy stopped. He's going to get his gold card on, but there's no way he's making it out of this one alive. Goodbye. Froggen picks up his first kill.
And again, all of that just from that earlier Destiny. Pressure from Elements in the jungle, forced Pepinero to show his hand. And now we're going to see Wicked actually... Oh, he's TPing middle. All right. So the problem is, this tower's most likely going to go down because there's nobody else to survive, although the minion's being dropped down. And look top. Ardry's pushing top as well, so this is not terrible for Giants.
Frederick's actually really low here. He put the ice pillar up to try and block his escape. Shook and Froggen have moved back. Meanwhile, Reckless and Krepo are still pushing uncontested in the bottom side, so this worked out quite well for Elements. Ardry's really not gotten a whole lot up top except some minions. He could easily take this tower with the Jinx, but Peppy's here.
All of the strength of Giants' engage and flanking power with Pepinero's Twisted Fate is negated when Elements are causing a chaotic ruckus across the map. Elements invading, Elements pushing towers, Elements forcing these objectives means Giants never get to use their team composition to single targets out. It's very smart play from Elements.
And this is very encouraging from this Element squad because we've been saying all split that they have had a lot of troubles in being proactive. They've let the game pace get dictated to them. They've tried to play late game. This is a totally different type of Elements squad. And yes, it's against Giants, a team that's not likely to punish you as much for taking risks. Although it did happen the last time they met.
Yeah.
But this is the type of Elements I think a lot of people really wanted to see.
Yeah, I think so too. And the opening 10, I mean, it's not even 10 minutes into the game. With the amount of movement and lane presence, you wouldn't have expected it. Frederick is going to be able to force the flash from Froggen. The one thing I do want to highlight, despite all of the positive plays Elements have done, it has still cost them towers. It has cost them a dragon. It's a 2,000 gold lead. Yes, that is sizable, but map objectives, map play is actually in favor of Giants. And knowing the mobility with Teleport, with Void Rush, and with Destiny, as long as Giants can slow down this advantages they're giving their opponents, Giants actually do have some very good tools to bring themselves in. Because again, all of the engage, all the team fight power is with them. The catch, don't let Elements land more death sentences or surprise you on the map.
With the cooldown boots, Krepo's definitely going to be able to throw even more of them out than usual. Tower at about half health in the middle. They've drawn the Giants' attention. The hook does go wide that time. Shook, Krepo, and Reckless here to defend their tower. Froggen on the bottom to push things back. Peppy will be able to clear that wave away whenever he chooses. And right back to it. Teleport advantage to Whirlup right now, though, if Giants do want to make a play. But the window's closing because Wicked is moving down to mid.
I really want to see how this Trundle continues to play out. I'm a big fan of the champion, and I think when there are tanks available, Trundle being somewhat of a tank buster helps out. Krepo doesn't land the death sentence, and we'll see. That's a great pillar of ice.
Yep, and they've caught Rydal as well. He may throw down the bear, but it won't matter. Frederick going down as well. Froggen picks him up. Wicked just causing some havoc in the back, and, well, the back is now the front. It's a double kill going over to Froggen. They clear up 3 just like that. You can take the dragon whenever they want, but it looks like it's time for some towers.
Perfectly placed pillar of ice from Wicked. Completely splitting up the Giants, allowing Elements backline to just melt everything that was in front of them. They take down 3 members of Giants, they get a tower, and they'll get their hands on this first dragon of the game. Very, very smart play. And again, Elements being proactive and punishing Giants for being a little bit out of position, not having the vision control they needed to make those sort of plays.
Pepinero's waiting in this brush, but I'm not sure what he hopes he can accomplish. Froggen, yeah, he's going to be sighted here, and he's going to run, prompting Pepinero to move out of the brush. The Destiny's on. I don't know where it's going. He's going in the back. They're going to look to try and collapse on him. Shook. They get the knockup as well. Oh, they might make him pay for this dragon. It looks like they do. 2 kills. 1 onto Shook, 1 onto Reckless, but Froggen got to answer back, and he equalizes Rydal down to nothing before the rest of Giants can even react to it.
So 2 for 1. If you exclude the fact that Rydal was caught out by a pretty farmed LeBlanc at the moment, that is exactly what Giants need to continue doing. They comboed the Void Rush, the Teleport. They had all of the vision from Destiny, and they made a smart move. Resulting in a couple of kills, their first of the game, and another tower, so all the outers are down. The question remains, can they do that again? Because they need to use that combination of map presence almost on cooldown, because they're still 3,000 gold down.
Yes, indeed. So Elements, they grab 1 back, but they lost 2 in all of it. As you said, getting the dragon is important for them, though. Just wasn't necessarily the safest one. And Giants Gaming, they need to keep up their own brand of pressure and counter pressure. They want to try and push Elements back. Froggen waiting out in this brush. Rydell has had some trouble with Froggen this game.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And if you just look at the CS numbers, nearly 40 difference between the mid laners, and that's just Froggen solo. I mean, he earned that advantage. Yes, there was a gank from Shook, but Froggen was already relatively far ahead, even on the 80 carries, relatively even on your top laners. But what I like from Wicked is he's picking up some damage. And the reason I like that, Trundle can stick to targets so well. Chomp applies a slow, it reduces their attack damage. The Pillar of Ice is a fairly wide area, and if Wicked stalls that Pillar of Ice until Audrey Velks, you can then put it down, hold him in place, and run him down with your Frozen Domain, the W. So Wicked has so much peeling power in teamfights, and the fact that he can steal tank stats, reduce damage, it's a very, very smart pick against a team that actually doesn't have all that many tank busters already.
Very, very true. And you look at Froggen right now, he's done a lot of what he's done in the last couple minutes with a temporary item deficit. He's been sitting on about 2,500 gold. He should go back and spend it, maybe all in one place. Let's see what he does go ahead and get. Yeah, it looks like it's the Needlessly Large Rod and the Boots upgrade. So he's going to be even scarier in trying to 100-0 somebody. Can Giants, however, stop these potential catch-us? Audrey's got to be careful not to get hooked up.
The simple answer is no, because Frederick at this point will get hit with a single. Actually, everybody except Werlib is most likely going to die with one full rotation from Krepo. Frederick's caught out, and here come Elements.
Yes, they do. They avoid the Flame Chompers at least, but Werlib in the front takes a parting zap. And in all the while, Wicked continues to push up on the top, uncontested for the time being.
Very smart once again, knowing Elements have the TP advantage. If you recall correctly, Werlib TP'd after that previous dragon. So Elements are allowing him to split push while grouping up, trying to force Giants' hands. And it's allowed Wicked to get the minion wave to the tower. I don't know if they're going to commit to this. There's no real support from Giants.
They should be able to do this. They've got the Jinx on, and here goes the Rex side to try and pull the flank. It's behind, but they don't even care about it. Werlib is going to be in the middle of the entire Element squad, and he is going to go down. Shook is blazing down. His life is going oh so low. However, Frederick, he's going to be the one chased down. There comes the rocket. It's going to hit, and Froggen should be able to polish this one off. Yes, he does. 2 kills. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Pepinero and Wicked had themselves a bit of a tango. And it looks like it was Peppy that maybe won, but he had to run after the fact.
So Elements grab themselves, kills Pepinero.
Oh, he's gold card's on. Didn't quite get the hook off either. Krepo's very, very low in this one, but Froggen's also there. Audrey, oh, he could get blown up, but he doesn't quite finish him off. It's Rydell that comes up with the kill, courtesy of Tibbers.
And again, over and over, this massive advantage is showing through. Froggen was involved in the entirety of the map. From the top lane, chasing Rek'Sai, even forcing Pepinero to use that Destiny. The thing that's so important to note, yes, Froggen died, but Pepinero was forced to use that Destiny, and at level 1, it's still a fairly high cooldown. It's over 2 minutes long. So you just keep buying time, buying these windows of opportunity for Elements to make plays elsewhere. We're approaching 20 minutes. Elements have got 4 towers to 3, 7 kills more, nearly 5,000 gold in the lead, and Wicked TP to defend that inner turret in the bottom lane. So they're set up very, very well with a team comp that I think will outscale Giants actually quite effectively, especially if Wicked gets his hands towards a Blade of the Ruined King plus Randu and Zoman. I simply don't see anybody taking him down.
It's going to be extremely, extremely difficult. On Werlib's side, he hasn't had too much luck of it, just been trying to frontline for the side of Giants in the skirmishes that we have seen so far. Blue buff goes down to Froggen. Elements trying to keep themselves around middle. There is a minute left on this dragon.
And you know, something that Deficio always points out when you have these Maokais that fall behind in lane swaps or have difficult early games, he's a very big fan of Maokai sitting on a Catalyst Protector and just using that through the entirety of the mid game and just buying tank early. The reason for that, Maokai with this Righteous Glory, yes, you've got a lot of hit points. But if you engage, there's nobody behind you that can stand up to the Element squad. So yes, you have this tool that can get you into a fight, but all that does is accelerates you to the death chamber quicker. So if Werlib had invested more gold in defensive statistics to buy Giants more time in team fights, it would have been more valuable. We'll see whether or not that rings true. Dragon's up in 10 seconds. Destiny should be available unless Elements rush it. And it kind of feels like Giants don't want to give this one up, but they really, really don't want to pick a fight against a team that's this far ahead.
No, they do not. Frederick sends out the Praise Seeker after the Sonic Wave was dodged. The Skullcrab Shrine's in Element's favor here. At about the 20-minute mark, we could look to clear out the ward, but he got deterred by a sapling. Throws down the pillar on Audrey. Just bumps him up for a second, and we got a bit of a ward war going off to start this one, but here we go. They're going to go ahead and turn on the Dragon. Reckless and Shook should have enough damage between them. Froggen going in to help out.
Pepe's miles away.
Giants, yeah, he can't get involved. Pepe's got the Destiny, but he's just not close enough to really make an impact. He was more interested in his blue buff. Dragon number 2 going to Elements.
I think that's not a bad idea from Giants, but I would have preferred them to maybe get some vision in Elements jungle. You contrast the decisions. Earlier, once Giants went for Dragon number 1, and they were bottom lane, started to recall, Elements instantly moved into Giants jungle, put vision down, put some wards. Giants were milling about, they pushed the wave out middle, Pepe was securing his own blue buff, and there's simply nothing gained. There's just defensive wards. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like 5 or 6 defensive wards around the mid lane river area from Giants. And they didn't really do anything with that spare time, so unfortunate for them.
Not only that, they didn't have anything else they could grab. The outer turrets in the top and everywhere are gone, so there really wasn't an easy, low-hanging objective that they could go for. And as a result, Elements, they got that one. They're still fairly well in the lead. 4,000 gold just about, as well as the Dragon advantage and a serious kill advantage.
Yeah,
see what Giants can do here.
If there's something else that, again, wants to just really highlight the style that Elements are employing in this game, look at the trinket upgrades already from Wicked, from Froggen, from Crepo. You've got a Ruby Sidestone as well as a regular Sidestone between Shook and Crepo already. No trinket upgrades from Giants. Elements have got so many tools to place wards, as well as a plethora of pink wards in their inventory. Elements just continue to play the map, vision, decision game, because that's the weakness in Giants comp. Once Giants are deciding when things happen, they have the tools to pick the fights. And let's see, Destiny, will it get thrown down? Gold card's primed, and I think if he pops this...
We've got to stand off. Oh, okay, now they know where Froggen is.
Peekaboo, they see you.
He's just fine, though. Again, it's all about that game of chicken. We'll see what Elements does. They've got some serious tower damage in here. The Rockets just keep on hitting. It's about half its health. Froggen goes down to the bottom side. Elements are not looking for a fight right now. They might have one on their hands if Elements focus on this bottom.
You know what, if Elements find the fight, they'll be super happy. Whirlib is still only on this Righteous Glory plus Ninja Tabai at 22 minutes into the game. And playing a game of chicken against Froggen, who is wielding a bazooka, is simply not going to work in your favor. And look at that, just brute force. Mid to bottom. Smart play from Pepe to at least push out the middle wave. But it's just a little bit of time. And Elements, it actually just prevents Elements getting that middle inner turret, as it's the only inner turret remaining.
Coalescing up in this middle right now, however, trying to make sure that they know where Giants can be at all times, whether they're in their jungle or not. And you can see Pepinero is able to slip away, but they weren't going to be able to catch him just yet, unless he sticks around up top here. There's a collapse coming in. There's the Destiny popped, and out he goes as the net closes, but he had to spend that ultimate to do it.
Yeah. And the only way Giants get back into this game is by looking for the gap in Elements' vision and then jumping in behind them. Because Whirlib can do it, Frederick can do it, Pepinero can do it. And it will be relatively easy to kill a LeBlanc or a Jinx if you can solo them out. But Elements for the majority of this game, because look again, they're just grouping, they're pushing as a unit, knowing Destiny's not available. Reckless was pushing out that middle lane alone, and now he's instantly grouped with the rest of his team.
Elements here waiting, seeing if they can bait. Hook doesn't quite go the way they want it. Frederick was just out of range, so Elements will be backing away. Meanwhile, Giants trying to provide some pressure in the middle, but it's going to get cleared very quickly as Audrey and Rydell just shoot off a few more shots to try and make a statement at the very least, because they're definitely not making a lead.
Well, no, they're not. But something we do have to highlight that we haven't mentioned for a little while. Thanks to Pepinero playing the split push side lane game, he's actually now got a very big advantage over Froggen. Remember, he was down 40 CS at one point. The fact that Elements are pushing into the jungle, looking for fights, trying to pressure towers, means that they're actually falling a little bit behind on that mid lane CS, but they're being made up for. Reckless on AD carry and Wicked in that top lane. 30 ahead. Got that Randians completed, sitting on Actually sitting on a lot of gold, 1,600 in fact.
Yeah, pretty close to being able to complete the Blade of the Rune King. Just a few hundred more should do it for him. And now, still a minute and a half away from this next dragon. Elements seem a bit indecisive as Peppy continues to lead the minions down the bottom lane.
Yeah, I don't know if it's indecision or it's just there's very little to gain. Because, you know, the entirety of the game from Elements has been pushing into the jungle. Vision for inner turrets. There's one inner turret remaining. Elements know they have a team comp that's going to scale super, super well. They've got a Jinx that is not really at threat of being going down with a QSS to get rid of that gold card and some support from Crepo. I think Elements are happy to play this one safe. Wait for Giants to force a play and then punish them because they're so far behind. In theory, anyway.
We'll see how that one works out, that's for sure. Pepinero might meet Froggen in just a moment. Here he comes, waits for the wild cards to go, and he clears them away. Destiny's on. Ghost as well. Froggen backs out. And he opts to get away.
And again, we just sound like a broken record, but as long as Elements are forcing Pepinero's hand, that is their key to shutting down this composition.
Yeah, they're forcing him to fold then.
Correct. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
I like that. Touche.
I'll take those odds any day.
Touche, young Padawan.
Aha.
Dragon's up in 5 seconds. Vision is definitely in Giants' favor, and the fact that they're pushing the middle lane helps them out. The problem is not having Destiny means that any reactive plays or trying to punish Elements is going to be difficult. If a straight-up 5v5 happens, Elements have got the advantage. The benefit here, Froggen is a mile away, Shook is a mile away, and Elements have given this one out.
Yeah, they give away a dragon here. It was gift wrapped over to Giants, so they pick up number 2 for themselves. Elements, they look to push down mid, but Giants are there for a flank.
Yeah, and that's all due to the Vision. If Elements were to go in, they're blind checking an Annie and a Twisted Fate, which is never a good idea. So Elements, I think, wisely gave the Dragon up because they get global gold and secure a tower. Smart, safe play. And we did see Wicked spending the money. Picked himself up that Giant's belt, completing the Merc Treads. So again, just getting a little beefier, a little tanky. I really like that again. Build HP if you can on Trundle because you can just steal armor and MR as long as there's a tank.
Ooh.
Wicked's eaten by the Prey Seeker.
Prey
Nobody else is moving. Look at Crepo and Reckless. They're just chilling in the river. They don't want to give up the information to Tremor Sense. Elements have practiced playing against Rek'Sai because they're just chilling right there.
Quite a lot of experience with it. In comes Wicked. There's a teleport, however. Rydell's going to get the flash Tibbers on, but there's no one there to do any more damage to Reckless. And there's that ultimate burn. Peppy, he's very, very low. Wicked was going down a little bit to himself, but Reckless picks up the kill on Peppy. Let's see what Frederick can do. He's all by his lonesome, and there comes Werlib after the fact. Froggen, can he make his great escape? Giants just running for their lives, but 3 of them are already down, and Elements look to march up the mid. Can they push on the inhibitor turrets right now?
Their minions are backing up in just a little while, but look at top and bottom lane, Pyra. Elements can swing to any objective they want. Very, very smart play in a 4 versus 5. Wicked pulled the threat of every Giants member. Reckless and Crepo were on the back line, and then Froggen came in at just the right moment to defer or deter any further aggression. I think smart play, despite the fact Froggen was late, it didn't hurt them. Look at the minimap. You can see Froggen was going to the top lane, realized he couldn't interrupt the teleport, and then was forced to come to the party. But this is what I like. Shook plus Wicked, tag teaming 1, 2, 3 members of the Giants squad. And despite the fact Giants have this numbers advantage, they're simply too far behind. And the Ignite, I think, actually got that last tick of damage. Smart play from Elements, good attempt from Giants, but again, it's just too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, didn't net them anything in that situation. So Elements, they don't push too much more of an advantage. They didn't go on the bottom where the minions were building up. They back away. They don't give Giants any openings to punish them for overstaying their welcome. But they do grab inhibitor number 1 in the middle. They've got a few deep wards out now, and they're definitely playing with a little bit more confidence to be able to clear away the Skull Crab. Unfortunately,
no one saw that. No, come on, don't clap that.
All right. You can't hit them all.
2, 1, and 8.
Hey, the guy can't see. Give him a break.
Shook's doing phenomenal this job. And it's not the, you know, we've not seen this level of impact from Shook in a while. 30 minutes on the board. Elements, again, they're playing this one safe. They may lose the bottom turret unless Wicked decides to TP. But Destiny's going to reveal, and we may have a small fight in our hands.
Yeah, he's going to put the box down. Whirlib will be a little slow after the fact here. He's going very, very low. Another hook comes in. This time they've caught Rydal. Can they blow him up? It looks like it. Crepo taking a lot of damage, but he's staying alive. Not for long. The rocket comes in, however. It is a 3-for-1.
Ooh.
Peppy nearly catches Frog. Oh, he does get Frog, and I got juked on that one. Another gold card comes in. Maybe they can make the outplay, but it's not looking likely right now as Pepinero goes down. Reckless on a rampage as Frederick tunnels his way away. Still 3 members of Elements here. Can they take this Baron? It's only Frederick standing.
I'm going to go back to something we said earlier. Crepo's tweets and the play that he wants to put on, landing hook after hook after hook. And the thing that was particularly great about that, landed on Whirlib, then he caught Rydal, and the Flay actually pulled Audrey onto those Flame Chompers as well. Smite is available from Frederick. Elements lost to Giants after a Baron steal a few weeks ago. Pyra, Frederick's trying to make it 2-for-2.
Can they do it again? No, the Chompers are in there. Hello, goodbye. This time, we covered our bases, boys, and they get Baron buff for everyone.
Oh, I was so hoping that was going to be Frederick going down. But the main thing is just look at Crepo here. The Element squad realizes there's no damage threat from Giants because their front line is splitting up. Pepinero is coming from the north, the rest of Giants coming from the river. And that's actually a lot of damage. Twisted Fate
got
plus
both the clone and the real LeBlanc.
Lichbane plus Death Cap. Pepinero hurts. And that's all thanks to the farm. 300 CS in 30 minutes. Yes, Pepinero's not been able to initiate, but he cleaned up. Unfortunately, it is just a small victory because Elements still secured the Baron. And a lot of it just very, very smart, decisive play. Not risky play. It's
yeah, they haven't
calculated.
exposed as much. And, you know, you can see their adaptation in that situation. There was an opening for Frederick to try and make the steal. This time, they were like, no way. Throw down the Chompers. Shook gets in. Shook gets the kill. Shook gets out. No trouble whatsoever for Elements. And now Reckless pushing down the bottom. He'll be joined by the rest of his team. And the Jinx on this many items starts to hurt pretty badly if you're a tower. Giants push up mid, but they realize
they're way out of
they
position.
Have nothing to be doing out there right now. This is going to be a free inhibitor for Elements.
I think it must have been siesta time because Giants were simply caught napping. Wrong place, wrong position. There's not enough people backing. Elements onto the Nexus turrets.
Yes, they are indeed. Elements have got it at half health right now. The hook goes on to the minions. There's just too many of them to count. But Elements are still causing quite a lot of pressure. Peppy is still in the mid, preventing the minions from flowing in. As he actually starts to try and take a tower here, Elements, they might have to answer pretty soon. There's a teleport coming in from Wicked, and he's forced Peppy to back.
So Elements with another inhibitor secure. The middle inhibitor will be spawning shortly. Pepinero, he wants a fight.
Oh, he flashes for the gold card, and he hits Froggen. There is going to be a Timbers coming down. Rydal kills Crepo. Shook now on the run. Do they have enough damage? The Ward Hop should secure his safe passage out. 2 kills, though, for Giants.
For the first time this game, Giants were able to punish Elements. The reason that worked was because Wicked had TP'd away. Numbers advantage in favor of Giants, and we touched on it. If Giants can punish that gap in the vision from Elements, Pepinero can find the engage. No death cap for Pepe yet, so he needs to really have the backup of his team. The question is it enough? Giants are still 6k gold down. They've got supers in the top lane. With Dragons spawning and knowing Froggen and Crepo aren't around, they might try Brave this one, but they have to deal with all of that damage from Reckless. If a gold card can catch Reckless, which it will not because Pepe's nowhere near, they're going in instead.
Yep, Whirlib is going to look for Reckless. Shook, however, got stunned up in the back. There's going to be a rocket coming in. They're going very low. Shook takes out Frederick, and they manage to get Whirlib as well. Froggen moving in on this one as Wicked and Audrey, or excuse me, as Audrey and Rydal are running for their lives. Rydal's going to go down. Wicked picks that one up. And it looks like it might have been a bad situation for a second, but Elements capitalized big time.
What a different game that could have been if Pepinero had been with the team and able to get that extra damage on Reckless. Pepe has
taken out Froggen.
And he has.
And he's out. It's an escape artist. We got Houdini in the bot lane now.
And Pepinero has been the shining light of Giants all split. 326 CS after being down 40. It needs to be much more godlike. Look at the positioning from Frederick. They know Froggen's not there. Whirlib's coming in from the river.
Giants are going bold here.
They're looking for the fight.
Yep, Crepo's a little bit squishy right now. Wicked himself is not looking too healthy. They're pinging it out. They know this is going to be happening, but can they get the kill? Reckless, he manages to take down Audrey, and just like that, the flank's not there in time. Shook, he's taking some serious damage. Crepo, Reckless, very, very low. Frederick coming in to try and finish the job. There's a shutdown. Pepinero manages to pick up Shook, and Rydell takes down Reckless. Wicked on the run. There's 3 Giants after him, and let's see if they can squish him down. It looks like it. Peppy comes up with it. 4 kills for 1. After the collapse by Giants.
I do not know what these teams have been doing, but games are just getting better and better over the last few weeks. Elements, a little overconfident. Crepo just trying to thread the needle, unable to catch Peppy. Despite the fact that Elements go down here, they were trying to buy time, and the flank from behind allowed Werlib and Frederick to just cause all of that disruption. Not enough lifesteal from Reckless, despite a really good attempt. And Rydell, Righteous Glory engage is going to be enough to zone out the damage. And again, this is what Giants need to do. This is what Giants wanted to do 20 minutes ago. But Elements were in control of the jungle, were in control of the vision, were in control of the map. Now that Elements have to push so far, so deep, so often, they don't have as many wards to protect against those plays. So for Elements, they've got to be very, very calculated when they make those decisions. And Giants have stalled this game out. They're dragging it later and later. There is now tank stats on Maokai. Frederick's getting beefier.
Speaking of
Peppy's
dragging,
already popping everyone.
They get their 3rd after that too. They were right in the right position to do it. The gold game, still about 5,000 in favor of Elements, but that's not looking so sure at 36 minutes into the game.
Try keep your eyes on the player cams. Next time Elements members go down, let's see if we can witness the memories of the last time Elements lost to Giants. Because after that previous team fight, there was just face palming from all of the Elements in that bottom lane. Pepinero pushing bottom lane. He can melt towers with Lichbane Deathcap. Exposed inhibitor middle.
They're not backing for him though.
And there is Destiny available. This is going to be an easily secured objective.
Should be a
Peppy's
trade.
looking to trade.
Yeah, he does throw down the Destiny, but he hasn't gone just yet. He's looking to maybe go.
Base race.
Oh, it looks like we're going to have it, but it's a 1v4 in this situation. Inhibitor goes down. Elements, they can't quite push into this one.
They've got
Peppy,
supers.
He's still here. They've got supers at their back, but there's no one going back to stop Pepinero. This is going to be a crazy finish, Quick Shot. We've got the split screen on. How's it gonna go? One turret goes down, another turret goes down. They finally brought Wicked back. Peppy should be able to finish up this turret. I think it is. Can he kite around the Nexus though? They've got the Chris, oh my goodness, back in the bottom. There we go. Elements, they've cracked it open. They get their revenge, and Elements are still alive in the playoff race.
The way the first 20 minutes of this game started, I would not have thought it would come down to a base race. Pepinero did everything in his power to keep Giants alive, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough.
He was really, really rushing down those turrets. Finally, Wicked was sent back to deal with him, and in the end, Elements just had the stronger edge. They were able to force their advantage and take down the Nexus. But man, was it not clean. That game had so many things going on in it. For Elements, they really needed this win, and they got it, but it looked uncertain for a while.
Yeah, towards the end, I'd say. Broken hearts for Giants. They are still, they're not auto-relegated. They've got the same
They're
score.
still tied with Meet Your Makers.
4-13 with MYM. The potential for that tiebreaker for 10th, but for Elements, I think this game was actually very interesting. Again, the first 20 minutes, the way Elements handled Pepinero, forcing the Destiny, baiting the teleports, the map belongs to Elements. There was no doubt about it. The problem came in when they had to extend the front line all the way into the base of Giants. You noticed all of those gaps in the map, all of the overextended positions, and that's when Elements got caught up because the engage was on Giants' side. Unfortunate for Giants that they didn't have a better laning phase, because this game could have been very different had they not fallen so far behind in the first 20.
Absolutely, and you know, all credit to Peppy for making the pressure be felt by Elements all across the map. He was in the bottom a good chunk of the time. He was in the middle forcing back minions. He did everything he could. The team, you know, they had some really great engages, but they just got edged out every time because, as you mentioned, their laning phase, they fell so far behind to Elements.
Yeah. And again, I really think the map play is the biggest story of this game. Peppy was pushing those side lanes. He ended 371 CS in 37 minutes. You just contrast that. Froggen was 220. The reason I want to contrast it, by 15, 16 minutes in the game, of Froggen's 220 CS, he had 120 of it. So over the preceding 25 minutes, he only got 100 minions. So, you know, it's just this really weird, interesting dynamic of who was playing the map better.
Yeah, it really, and it was all over the map, especially when you consider all those globals. Now, with that win, Elements, they do keep their playoff hopes alive.